we'll go ahead and get started. We'd like to welcome Zach Johnson to the interview room here at the RSM Classic. Zach's making his first start on tour since serving as captain of the U.S. Ryder Cup team. Zach, you are one of two players who has played every single RSM Classic since its inception in 2010. Did you know that?
Is this a quiz to find out who
I'm
the
not
other
going to
one is?
ask you who the other one is unless you think you know.
Well, I know it's not Davis, but it would be Davis if he could have played. I don't have the faintest idea. Charlie Hoffman. No, he's West Coast. Somebody old.
Oh, no.
Really?
No. Getting closer.
Cooch?
It's Chris Kirk. Thank you.
Okay, Kirky.
All right.
See?
Zach, as someone who's been here at the RSM Classic every year, what's so special about this event?
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of time to get through the whole list, but I mean, for me personally, selfishly, sleeping in my own bed and coming to work, like true work every day, is pretty spectacular. That's just me. But what makes this special is really it's collaborative. It's the collaboration of RSM making a tournament their own since the inception, seeing it evolve and get bigger and better every year. So those peoples deserve a lot of credit. It's the people that reside in this facility right here. Certainly Davis and his foundation and what they do is spectacular. And then I would obviously throw in Sea Island Company and the amenities with which they offer. So I've got a couple buddies on tour. This is their first time here, which is kind of strange. A couple close ones in particular. But I get it. I mean, it's hard, you can't play every week. But it sounds like they won't want to miss it now. So it's those that come back. Those that come here want to come back. And I think that says a lot. So, and I promise you it was 75 to 85 every day last week.
And Zach, how's your game looking coming into the week?
I've actually been able to work as of late, which has been nice. It's been a nice change and much needed escape. And my game feels great. I mean, we've had we had my entire team. We try to meet at the end of the year. We've already done that, which was really healthy and really effective. And then the communication since that point has been spectacular. So we've got a good game plan, I think, to navigate. It's not like it's anything out of the ordinary, but the difference this year is it's a little more trying going into next year because of it's not uncertainty. It's just a different schedule, as you well know. I don't need to get into the nuances of that, but it's just different. So trying to figure out where I can play and where I can't, and my home life it's going to be a difficult stretch, but my game feels good. I'm excited about this week and the remainder, in 2024.
Great. We'll get into questions. You'll just raise your hand. We'll get a mic over to you. We'll start in the front with Gary. Can I grab Zach a water, please?
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
I'm good, Gary. How are
Do you get a gold certificate of some kind for perfect attendance?
We will get that printed right away.
I think I should get at least like a Chick-fil-A card or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Little gold star to put on a hat.
That's right. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, something. Well, This is the 14th year. Maybe at 15.
Two questions.
Sure.
RSM, and before that, McGladdery was the same company.
Yep.
Thank you. They've been a sponsor for this thing for 14 years. To the health of a tournament, to be able to keep a sponsor for that long and going forward,
yes.
How much does that play a part in the success of the tournament?
Well, I guess I'm not into the actual architecture of this entire tournament, and I don't really know specifically, what those meetings are about. I will say this. I mean, I do know some of the executives very well, even intimately. One in particular sits on my foundation board. And so, I do know the people of RSM very, very well. And it does not surprise me that we're at 14 years. Obviously, this place is really great, and they've made this a second home. Whether you're talking about Sea Island, St. Simon's community, the charities that are benefited, et cetera. There's a personal connection there. So that's number one. Number two is there's measurables. There's actual objective data that RSM has used to basically the full effect on their business. And I think, if anything, they could be a model, I'm sure they are, in Ponte Vedra for other potential or current title sponsors on how you utilize the PGA Tour construct to better your services, your businesses. I think there's, I mean, I'm getting into the specifics here, but there's real tangible data. And so, whether it's their clients or, partners or whomever that come here, they want to come back. I mean, I do numerous things with RSM throughout the year. And, one of the common threads in those discussions is, I can't wait to get back to Sea Island or St. Simons. And it doesn't surprise me.
And then finally, no matter how long you've lived here, how many times you play Ocean Forest or Frederica or here.
Sure.
But playing out here, does it ever get old? The course, the scenery, things like that?
No, not at all. It does not get old. If I'm going to be completely honest, it's my own fault because I am human. I probably do take it for a little bit for granted on occasion. It's just spectacular. We're spoiled. If you're talking about these two facilities, who get a lot of play, but they're spectacular. And then, I can still call it the new plantation. I guess it's not that new anymore. I think it's a great compliment to Seaside. I think Seaside's one of the better golf courses we have on tour. And then now Ocean Forest is redone. Frederica's amazing. Retreat, just right down the road, is in the best shape I've seen it. So we're legitimately spoiled in the Golden Isles.
Go to the back to Rex.
Zach, it's been a couple weeks since the Ryder Cup. In that time period, how often are you thinking back to the events of that week, either good or bad? And is there, what stands out when you're sort of sitting on the front porch thinking about that week?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it a lot. I mean, when it's something that, well, I mean, I guess you're going to get really specific. It was a year and a half, maybe 19, 20 months from the announcement, I guess, right? There's really about a year of true work, maybe 13, 14 months of work. So when you have something of that magnitude that you're doing day in, day out for the most part, and then it comes to an abrupt halt, you can't not think about it. And I love it. I mean, I am a fanatic of the Ryder Cup. So given my role in the last one, yeah, I mean, it's natural. I mean, I've got a lot of 20/20 hindsight things that I certainly think about, arguably some regrets, but I think, again, with something of that magnitude, win or lose, you're going to have that, and that's sports, and I think that's when you care and you're passionate about something, you're going to have those natural feelings. So, I think when I look back, obviously the mission was to go win, and we did not do that. And for that stinks. Again, I wanted to win. I wanted these guys to win, and it still hurts in some regards. But it's also the journey. This sounds like the right thing to say, but it's the truth. It's the journey with those people, specifically the 12, that I'll never forget.
And apologies for maybe touching a nerve. If you had to pick one thing that you regret, what would it might be?
Sure. Well, I don't. You're not. You don't have to apologize. I am. I think the best athletes, specifically golfers that I've been around, it's a pretty obvious, especially if you can get into their intimate details of how they operate. I think compartmentalizing their life is an attribute that a lot of guys do very, very well. Tiger will be the extreme example. He's amazing at it. And what I'm saying about compartmentalization is, I think when it comes down to it, I look at things, every piece of my job is just that. Even within that compartment, there's compartments. So, sorry. And so I kind of try to treat the Ryder Cup in that manner. I'm not one to tell them what to do or how to play. Obviously, I'm not their coach, but I am trying to put these guys in a position to play their best golf. That's what compartmentalizing is. And so I looked at every aspect of the Ryder Cup before and the week of, and try to diagnose it and study it and figure it out, like what's the most efficient way to tackle each and every item. And the common denominator that I go back to that I wish I could have changed or not changed. I wish it would have dawned on me earlier is just the pure commodity of time and understanding that it's precious. And I think we had the practice round trip, no regrets, amazing. I don't think the guys would say they had any regrets in that. At least I would hope they wouldn't, but it was spectacular. But I think if I could have, you're looking back on things. If I could have put more value into time management, I could have put my guys in a better position to play golf at a better rate early on. I'm not suggesting that would have changed the outcome. Not at all. I can't determine that. That's sports, right? So I'm just saying, I think in my seat, I didn't see what needed to be seen till after the fact. Now, it's been seen, and it's been voiced by me and probably a couple others, but specifically myself. And so hopefully next time around, there's a better template put into place so these guys can go play golf.
Go to the right with Adam.
Zach, it's kind of natural. It happens every time that the captain that wins is celebrated, the captain that loses gets kind of beaten up. Mm-hmm. But do you feel like you were out-coached?
Well, I'm not a coach. I'm a captain.
Like you're out-captained?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's such a subjective matter there. I mean, if you're going to look at the scoreboard, you'd say yes. I don't know. It's sports. I mean, the bottom line is this is the beauty of this. The absolute beauty of this is it's once every 2 years. But if I had my 12 guys and I could take them 2 weeks after that cup to another one, it could be totally different. Now, it's not. That's not the way the formula is. That's not the way it works. And so I get that. So, I mean, I'm not going to fault anybody for suggesting that Luke did a better job because they won. I mean, it's only natural. I think Luke would also attest to that, you know what, he's happy for his 12 guys that won. I'm upset that my 12 guys did not win.
Stricker, Davis, they both had chances to captain again. Would you want to do this President's Cup or Ryder Cup in the future?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. That's the first time I've had that question posed. I'll just say this. I will serve Team USA to essentially any capacity if there's individuals that want me to be a part of it. If I'm the best choice for this, that, or the other, whatever that role is. I am able and willing to help them out because I love helping and serving. So, you know, I've learned a lot, obviously. I have some experience, but at the same time, I think, again, one of the beauties of Team USA is that we have, you know, new guys coming up that deserve an opportunity and have the ability and the passion to do it as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as this week's event,
Mm-hmm.
in the past, the way the schedule worked, it always felt like the last week of school, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does this week feel like when jobs, opportunities for next year are on the line?
I don't know. I've actually thought about that in the sense that it is kind of the last week of school. I'll say, I mean, I only know myself here. Given the uncertainties of our golf climate, I mean, there's some things that are probably in place and still some stability, but I'm not upset that I'm almost 48. But there is opportunity. There will be opportunity for everybody and anybody, and this is another week. Obviously, that's opportunistic. So, yeah, I mean, fortunately, I put myself in a position that I'm still going to be able to compete next year on the PGA Tour, and hopefully beyond. I mean, that's my only focus right now, work-wise, is to get better at golf. But you know, I mean, it is the last week for some of these guys, and they got to make a dent. And that's golf. I mean, that's competitive golf. That's meritocracy. That's PGA Tour golf, and I think it's a beautiful thing. It's also extremely brutal because it's hard. Everybody's really good, and everybody essentially has the same goals, and that's to win. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to transpire down the road. I just hope that the stories that will come out maybe this week, or even, I mean, Camilo's an amazing story. No one's surprised by what he's done the last 2 weeks, but there'll be more of those beautiful stories like that. But there's also brutal stories that don't get covered as much. And again, it's hard. It's sports. But, hey, the PGA Tour is in a good spot.
Ron and then Sean.
Hey, Zach. Regarding the Ryder Cup, there was a lot of conversation afterward that Europeans had played competitively right before, more competitively sharp than maybe our guys who many had not played much. You put much stock in that, and would you recommend going forward that, hey, maybe before Bethpage, don't take a month off? Or it didn't seem to bother at Whistling Straits.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it both kind of. Well, for Team USA, we've seen both, right? We've had Tour Championships straight into a Ryder Cup, right, or Presidents Cup, and then we've had Tour Championship and 3 to 5 weeks off. So, I mean, that kind of goes back to what I said earlier, the commodity of time. That's one of those instances, providing time, but then also what are you doing in that time is another part of that. So, yeah, I mean, ideally you want to have some fresh guys. I mean, I don't know if it's the captain's role to say, hey, you guys got to go play. That's not, I don't know if that's the proper way to approach it. Bottom line is the FedEx Cup takes a lot of time, energy, and they need to rest too. Some guys played Napa. There was only a couple. I mean, I guess if I think back on it. So, yeah, there could be some truth in that. And you had their guys playing the BMW, which is one of their signature events. You had, I think it was 10 out of their 12 were like in the top 15 or something like that. Maybe even better than that, which is pretty ridiculous. So you had that, and you only had one time zone change for them to travel. Actually, a couple were in the same time zone. So, there's some merit to be said there too. So, yeah, I mean, that's been talked about, and I would say it'd be nice to have some collaboration between the PGA Tour and the PGA of America, or Ryder Cup Europe, or the European Tour in general, to have some collaboration there to see if we could figure out a really good way to tackle that. I'm assuming the dates. I know the dates are scheduled for New York. I don't know about Ireland yet. I really don't know.
Sean?
I'm curious, Brian Harmon was in here saying earlier this year he had texted his agent asking about announcing gigs. Like, he was thinking about hanging it up. And I think anyone who's played this game long enough has probably thought about quitting at some point, and then probably went on to win. As long as you've been at this, what's the closest you've come to hanging it up and quitting, and did a victory follow soon after?
Can you say that again?
Brian
Harmon?
He said it, not me. He was texting his agent this spring. He was so frustrated with his game about June, getting TV, doing TV.
As an announcer.
Brian Harmon.
It looked like Brian Harmon.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, as long as you've been doing this,
I've never been that. I mean, at my age, yes. I mean, what am I going to do next? But I still want to compete.
But there's never a frustrating stretch where you were thinking about.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I've had frustrating stretches.
Sure.
But I look at it as opportunity. I mean, I flip negatives into positives pretty darn quick. It's like having a round out there, and you shoot 73, and it could have been a 78 if you didn't putt well. Well, you putted well, and now you know what you need to work on. That's kind of how I operate. I look at it from a different lens.
I think it was a short-lived moment of frustration.
I'm going to assume it was too. Yeah, based on his July-August stretch, maybe even late June, because that was Travelers, right? Was Travelers in June? Yeah. Man, that's coming from his mouth. Correct? Holy.
But Jeremy said, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Well.
To be fair, he got shot down pretty quick by Jeremy.
Well, I mean, Jeremy depends on him for a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I know Brian well, very, 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 very well, and we've had discussions throughout the years on how to play this game, how to tackle this game. We approach things very similar. That's why I'm surprised by this. I mean, maybe he was being honest or somewhat sarcastic. I have no idea. That's not the point. I'm just shocked by that statement because he is so good. I mean, obviously, we're saying because he had a great summer, but that even before that, I'm like, I almost want to model my game after him now. That's really what I'm getting at, is because he's so efficient at what he does. Wow, I'm surprised by that statement.
Mark?
It's the On3 network. It's not Rivals. Go ahead.
Go Going back to the Ryder Cup,
Sir.
have you guys done a post-mortem dissection? And given a few weeks out, do you have any more insight into road versus home, or it is what it is?
Can you elaborate more on this?
Just on how,
Be more specific.
just how it's been so lopsided
Oh,
for the home team.
well, I mean, I think there's a number of factors there, and all of them could be possibly correct. I mean, the bottom line is this is sports, and you just never know until you tee it up. I mean, you never know who's going to – anybody can beat anybody at any given time. The fact of the matter is kind of what we've kind of said here. I don't think I put my guys in the best position for success. Those guys on the European side were playing great golf and didn't have far to go. A lot of them played multiple tournaments between the Tour Championship and the Ryder Cup. And so, yeah, I mean, I look back at Whistling Straits, it was kind of the other way. Like, a lot of our guys were playing unbelievable going into it, right? And so maybe there's something to be said about form in that regard. I don't know. I mean, I think you can kind of pick it apart and but you cannot prove one way or the other why. And that's why this will be discussed over and over and over again, whether it's internally or in the media or wherever. It's the beauty and the curse of the Ryder Cup. It's just so substantial that you can look at it so many different ways. And, yeah, there's a lot of potential in there for being accurate, but you're never going to really know. I mean, I think where we are, we're going to learn from what happened. And so I personally believe the Team USA will be in a better position for Ireland once we go back over there. Again, that's not going to say that we're going to win by any means, but because it's hard. I don't know. I hope there's not as many lopsided victories going forward. I say that, but it's got to be kind of nice to be on. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to win in hostile environments, no matter what sport it is.
Any last questions for Zach? One last one from Gary.
One of the things that Brian said about the Ryder Cup, his first Ryder Cup, is that I know, the losing side, whether it's here or across the pond, gets beaten up by, fans and their media. But I wondered if Brian didn't have the perfect perspective here when he said, mind you, in a loss, he said, my expectations for the Ryder Cup were exceeded. So for a rookie, and he talked about the experience of watching the greatest players in the world and about playing with Max the day they had on Saturday and everything. So, does he have that in the perspective that you would have wanted your guys to walk away with?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and have desires over their perspectives, but I'll say it does not surprise me in the least. I mean, shoot, I played in 5, and I won 1, and I cherish every one of them. Probably not over 2012 yet, but they're just all so special. Every team is special. Every week is just, it's unlike anything we do, and there's more to it than just the monotony of playing your own golf ball week in, week out. A lot more to it, so that's encouraging. I mean, it's encouraging that he said that. I'm not surprised by it, and I've talked to him. Again, going back to it, I've talked to him. I think because he's been close 2 or 3 times on making a team here or there, and so we've had some nice discussions. Simple and short, but I just kept encouraging him to keep doing what he's doing because he's good enough, and we witnessed that. No one was surprised. Obviously with Brian being a part of it, it wouldn't surprise me if he plays in the next 2 or 3. Going forward, at least because he's so good. So really, what you're saying is once you experience it, you want more of it, and that is so accurate. Again, the beauty of it is it's every 2 years. The curse of it is every 2 years because you want it again the next month. But that's not going to happen. Sure.
All right. Thank you all. And Zach, good luck in your 14th RSM Classic this week.
Thank you very much.